Hello and welcome to this new video on spacy 3.0. I thought that I'd make a video on this because I had a little bit of a problem trying to figure out exactly how to do it. Essentially in this video I'm going to walk you through all the steps that you need to know with this notebook I've created, which is now on GitHub and you can see it there. I'll have a link in the description down below. This notebook is going to detail how to add a custom component or factory to a spacy model and then package it. And that's the real trick of the video, is packaging the model with the custom component. So in a past video I talked about how to kind of go through and create a custom component, which we see right here, and if you wanted to learn about kind of how this process works, I highly encourage you to check out that video. It'll be linked in the description down below, and I'll try to make a fancy pop-up appear right now on the video screen. But let's go ahead and kind of work through with the assumption that you've already seen that video. We know what a custom component is, or a factory. We know how to add it into a spacy model. And the way I left off the last video, I left it kind of a cliffhanger. We can add it. In this case, it's a custom component that simply reads all the NER, and then it looks to see if a label is a person, and if it is, it just simply removes it from the entities after the NER. So this is a pipe that sits after the basic spacy small English model and removes entities. So if we look at the base model out of the box, it identifies Tom, Jerry, and USA as three entities: person for Tom, person for Jerry, GPE or geopolitical entity for USA. So that's what we kind of would expect. When we add in our custom pipe, in this case remove person, which we have named up here, we now can look at the pipeline. And when we analyze it, we see that our pipe, remove person, is in fact there. So we've got that all kind of in there. I've covered all this in the past video, that's why I'm rushing through it. And if we look here, we notice that we actually have the person removed. It's the same model, just with that extra pipe added, and we have simply printed off all the entities, and we notice that Tom and Jerry are not there, which means that our pipe does exactly what we wanted it to do. It removed the person from the doc.ents. Fantastic. And now we save it to disk, and this is where we run into a problem. Were I to try to load up this test pipe and execute it in a new Python script that doesn't have that custom component built in, it's going to break. In other words, if I were to try to package this model, this test pipe model, and I were to try to load it on another computer or anything that didn't have this, lots of code, in this case to do one thing, written into the script, it would always break. And this is a problem if you're trying to deploy a spacy model, because it requires a user to actually have all this and copy and paste it into their text or import it in some way, but life doesn't have to be that hard. We can simply package it like any other model. We're going to call, I walk you through all the steps here. We're going to say Python, and this is being done in a Jupyter notebook, but you can do this exact same thing in a terminal with your own Windows. That would be your command prompt, etc. You can do this exact same thing. The exclamation mark allows for me to use terminal commands in a Jupyter notebook. So we can say Python m spacy, and I walk you through what all these things mean. We can package it. That's going to be the package command. We're going to say that we're going to package test pipe, and we're going to say where we're going to put it. In this case, I'm going to drop it in my compiled subfolder within the directory. And this is the tricky bit right here. This is where the magic happens. We can pass a keyword argument of code, and code is going to be a Python file. And what's going to be in that Python file is your custom component. In other words, we want to package the model with the custom component, or at least a Python script that contains it, so that when it encounters a pipe and when it's trying to run, it'll know exactly how to handle it. It knows that there are custom pipes, so it doesn't break. It says, okay, there's a custom pipe, I need to know what to do with it. I have a Python file I can look at, and if it sees a pipe that matches this title, that lines up with what it sees in its pipeline, in this case we see remove person right here, coming after the limitizer, then it will know what to do. It's going to look at that and say, okay, I know exactly what to do. And once you've packaged it, congratulations, you're done. In spacy 2, we used to have to run a separate file that was in here. If we go in here, we can see it. We used to have to run setup.py to drop it into the dist folder. But now, if you go into your dist folder, you'll notice that your tar.gz file, which is your compiled model, is there. Everything's there. Why is this useful? It means that I can go into my compiled subfolder, and to the actual model, I can go into dist, and I can grab this file, I can copy it, I can paste it, and I can distribute it out. And when someone tries to load up this model, they won't have a problem. It will have the custom component built within it. So that's how you really kind of go through and easily package a model. One of the things that we can do is we can actually examine that tar.gz to make sure that I'm not lying to you, to make sure that it actually is in fact there. And I'm going to go ahead and load up right now Atom so that you can actually see this. So let's do that right now. Let's maximize this and bring it over. So here's Atom, which allows for us to actually examine these folders. It's a little hard to see, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here, and we can go through and analyze the entire tar.gz file. If we go through, we notice that down here is my component. And what is in my component but this? So let's go ahead now and try to install this file right here, this tar.gz. Let's go ahead and we're going to copy it, and we're going to paste it. Up here in the main directory. Let's go ahead and hit paste. Now we have this right here. That's very handy. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new file, and we're just going to call this test.py. But before we do that, we need to install this file. So let's go ahead and we're just going to hit rename so we can copy the whole file name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up within that directory in command prompt. And let's zoom in. I'm going to hit pip install. And we're going to do this. This is going to be a little bit of a problem for you if you install this, because it's going to overwrite your in-core web SM with this new version. In fact, you might even have to uninstall the previous one. Successfully built it. Fantastic. And now it's installed, which means I can load my in-core web SM and everything should work just fine. So I can import spacy. I can now do nlp equals spacy.load. This should be syntax that you're already familiar with. In this case, I'm loading up the in-core web SM, and I can print off nlp.analyze pipes. Let's go ahead and run this. We'll be able to see in the output our pipes analyzed, and we should see our remove person pipe present. If we go through and we look at the summary, we can swing all the way over. Remove person, there we are. So we can see that it's actually within the pipeline. So this is fantastic. Now that we know that it's in the pipeline, let's go ahead and try to create, let's use that same text that we used a second ago. We're going to use the sample text that we had, and I'll just copy and paste even the code over that we had a second ago. So we're going to run this bit of code right here, and if everything works as it should, we should not get any errors, and we should get a result that looks like just USA, GPE. And we do. This script does not have that custom component in it whatsoever, and yet the model works as intended. So everything now is working fantastic. This is precisely what we want to see when we're looking at adding a custom component to a spacy model. Hopefully now that you have a good understanding of how this works. If you got confused or were lost at any point in this video, I am pushing all this to GitHub right now with this video attached to it, so that you can kind of watch the video in line with the Jupyter Notebook. If you've gotten a lot out of this video, if you like this channel, please like and subscribe down below, and do help if you feel the need to contribute in some way, I have my Patreon linked in the description down below as well. I do everything on this channel for free, so hopefully if you get a lot out of it and you can, I encourage you to please do support the channel with Patreon. Thank you. Have a great day.